welcome to my channel. So in our previous video I told you guys to be talking about retaining length. So let's get into the video. I want you guys to understand by retaining length, because retaining length is a very important criteria in hair growth. Let's start from retain. To retain means to keep, to maintain a particular thing. So when you say retaining length, it means to keep or maintain a particular length. It shouldn't get shorter, it should only get longer, and the only way to get longer is if you retain the length. Now you might be wondering, why do we maintain length? Like, what is this maintaining length? Why should I maintain length? How does it correlate, or how is it related to hair growth? Now listen. Now the hair follicle, which is the root of hair, like the birthplace of every new individual, hundred, at least 100,000 hair strands in your hair, grows approximately 3.5 millimeters per day. Now see the problem. The problem is in hair growth, because hair grows, right? It's one of the fastest growing cell in the body. It grows. The problem is, are you retaining your length? Are you maintaining the particular length your hair is at this month, so you can see at least half an inch increase next month, depending on how fast or slow your hair grows? Now we retain length so we can see new growth when new growth happens. If you aren't retaining length, no matter how much your hair grows, because you weren't retaining length, your hair would cut from that particular length it was, maybe it was here, then it will cut in maybe the braid you are keeping it in, or maybe you left it out. It would cut, get up to here, then the new growth will go back to the same length it was at before. That is why we maintain length. We retain length so we can see this new growth every time it happens. So now that we have established what retaining length is and why we retain length, let's go into the tips on how to retain length. Tip 1, and a very important tip that made me lose a lot of hair 3 years back: don't leave your hair out. I used to leave my hair out for like 2 weeks constantly. And whenever I'm going to sleep, I'll just sleep with the hair like that, and it would mat the next morning, and then I might not detangle it. Like, I'll just keep going on like that, because I'm always indoors and I didn't know how to detangle hair at that time. So what I was doing, yeah, so I had full hair, and it was at an okay length for how many years I had kept it. But the next year I noticed that I'd lost like almost half of my hair, and I realized why after I did some certain things that showed improvement in my hair. I see a lot of people doing it, and in my head I'm always thinking, wow, your hair is not going to grow. You're not going to be able to retain length, because it's going to keep breaking, especially if you're styling it every day, or you're sleeping with it like that. You're not like braiding it in so you can braid it out tomorrow. If you're sleeping with it like that, that's a very bad thing. I feel like if you want to leave your hair out, 1 week is the max, and you should always braid it before you go to sleep, so it doesn't have to break from matting, right? So don't leave your hair out too long. Leaving your hair out too long, it stunts the growth. Whether your hair is relaxed or your hair is natural, it will stunt your hair growth. Don't leave your hair out, period. Tip 2. So tip 2 is based on last week's video, which was about porosity. Tip 2 is moisturize your hair. In other words, don't leave your hair dry. Leaving your hair dry is equally bad. It breaks the hair a lot, because I think when you're combing your hair or anything you're doing, you'll be hearing your hair snap. It's just breaking excessively. Keeping your hair moisturized helps it have the elasticity it requires, so it wouldn't have to break excessively. So keep your hair moisturized. If you want to know how to keep your hair moisturized based on your hair porosity, and if you do not know your hair porosity, please check out my last video. I gave details of porosities and how to moisturize each porosity. Tip 3, detangle your hair properly. This is another important tip. Lots of people don't know how to detangle their hair. They do not know how to comb their hair. Recently, I saw a girl combing her hair very ferociously. The way she was combing it, she can't retain length. That thing is going to break, because she's just breaking the ends of her hair. She's causing pain to the root of her hair. That's another important part. Your root is very important. When you do not know how to detangle or comb your hair, you cause a lot of stress to the root of your hair. So detangling and combing your hair properly helps to retain length. Take care of your hair, be gentle with it while you comb and while you detangle, so it can maintain the length and don't end up breaking every new growth that occurs. For those that don't know how to detangle their hair, in our next video I will be showing you how to detangle and comb your hair. Tip 4: your braids should not be too tight. Tight hair breaks hair. This is a known fact. For some people that lack edges, they lack hair in the front of their hair, that is as a result of tight hair. So try to tell your hairdresser or whoever makes your hair to make the hair a little less tight. We all know, oh yes, tight hair is neat, it lasts longer, but it causes a lot of problem to your hair and to your scalp. Your scalp needs tenderness because that's where your hair is coming from. So take care of your scalp. Tight hair causes a lot of friction to your scalp, and we do not want that. It causes your scalp to be irritated. Make hair that is less tight so you can maintain and retain your length. Tip 5: try to give your hair breathing space. This is something I do very often. After like a braid or anything that you're adding attachment, like you're adding braiding hair to, whether it's locks or it's passion twist, anything at all. After those kinds of hair, you should learn to give your hair breathing space, maybe for like 2 weeks. Just maybe go on cornrows or have mini twists or mini braids, or you could even make them regular twists and regular braids, just to give your hair time to breathe. And during this time, massage your hair to increase blood flow, because your hair just came from braids, and also to reduce the irritation and the pain your scalp might have at that moment. So learn to give your hair breathing space, it really requires it. Tip 6: this is a very important tip. I learned it. I didn't know it was important till I learned it. I did it, but I didn't know it was important, and I wasn't even doing it properly. Keep your braids in. Learn to keep your braids in. Whatever the style it is that you have made, keep it in for at least 3 weeks. Like, don't always be doing something to your head. Like, leave your scalp, leave your hair alone. You mustn't always be manipulating it, trying to do something. No. Learn to keep it in, and during the time where it is kept in, moisturize your hair properly, because keeping your braids in but leaving it dry, what I did before, your hair is going to break. It's going to break a lot. So when you keep your braids in, moisturize it. I can't emphasize the importance of moisturization, massaging. It is very important. Learn to massage and moisturize it. So keep your braids in. Don't always have something to do with your hair. Learn to keep it in, whether it's one where you're adding braiding hair or it's just cornrows or twist. Keep it in. Tip 7: tip 7 is to wash your hair properly. Wash it in sections. I met some people who don't like washing their hair. They're like, oh, my hair will shrink and stuff. There is really nothing wrong with shrinkage. I used to be afraid of washing my hair because of shrinkage before. Till I realized it's just shrinkage. Your hair is still the same length it's at. You just shrunk, and it's not a bad thing. Wash your hair properly and wash it in sections. Okay, for people that have like fussy hair, like really thick hair, I'd advise you wash your hair in sections, because then there's less tangle. When you wash your hair in sections, your hair tangles less, unlike when you wash it together, and then your hands are able to reach every part of your hair, so you can wash your scalp, because a clean scalp breeds hair growth. When your scalp isn't clean, there's build up, and it just doesn't allow your hair to grow. So a clean scalp breeds hair growth and helps you to maintain length. So wash your hair properly and deep condition after washing your hair. For those who don't know how to wash their hair properly and are always having to go to the salon, a video is coming where I'm going to teach you guys how to wash your hair properly. Now for the last and equally important tip: loosen your hair properly. Wow, lots of people do not know how to loosen their hair. Like, they loosen their hair with anger. They are loosening it, and then they meet a knot and they get so angry, they just yank the comb or just yank the hair, and that it just breaks the hair. Loosening your hair properly helps you retain length. If you do not know how to loosen your hair, you're just going to keep stunting your hair growth and keeping it at a certain length, even shorter. So you have to learn how to loosen your hair. A loosening hair video will be coming up for those who don't know how to loosen their hair properly. These simple tips I just gave on retaining length, if followed properly, will bring about the improvements you have been hoping to see in your hair for the longest time. Be gentle with your hair, be gentle with your scalp. A lot of people don't care so long as they could just add braiding hair to their hair, make attachment, wear wigs. They don't really care what their hair looks like. Well, you should care what your hair looks like because your hair is part of you. So take care of your hair, be gentle, be patient, give it what it requires. And if you notice from the tips I mentioned, none of them require any special products, like I said in my very first video. You do not need special products for hair growth. Any product you have that is good for the scalp is okay, so long as you use it consistently and you use it properly. And let's not forget, you do not always have to comb your hair. Sometimes you can just finger detangle it or finger comb it. You don't always have to put it through the combing process. My next video will be about detangling for those of you who don't know how to detangle or comb your hair. So see you guys in my next video.